Tony is now taunting a 62-year-old Ron Magill. We have to get into this first because this is unfair. Ron Magill is still running full court at 62 years old. That is
incredible. Running is stretching it. Running is stretching it. But,
okay, but
going up and down.
Whatever. You're playing basketball against a young 10-day Tony who fancies himself a baller who can make the Heat and had a 10-day tryout for the Heat. So he has been lambasting your game. He's been disrespectful of your game, and I don't think he's respecting the basketball dinosaur the way that he should.
That is not true. I have all the respect in the world for Ron Magill. Ron and I play in a very familial game on Saturday mornings, very early, I might add. And Ron is great out there. He's grabbing boards. He's making plays. He's got this one shot that he'll get in the middle of the key, kind of give a fake to the left, and then go over and shoot over his right shoulder.
Very
just
different
like that.
tone.
Yeah, this
very
is
different tone.
Yeah,
I have all the respect in the world for Ron
air,
Magill.
yeah.
What we heard off air was that you missed a lot of bunnies.
That was 2 weeks ago. He did miss a lot of bunnies.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I'm not
Wow.
going to make excuses, but I was not in good physical shape. I was hurting very badly, so I couldn't play. But I had to get some cardio in, so I had to do something. But I'm not going to make excuses. I just played horrible.
You already made the excuses.
You played with pain, Ron.
I don't like what Tony just did because there was a lot tougher talk prior to turning on his microphone. He says he's got one move. That's it. The one move. I'm onto him. And when just jovially here between amongst friends, Ron Magill jokes, I shouldn't be out there. And Tony's just like from the corner. I agree, old man. It's just bad. Bad look for you right now.
Hey, you know what? I don't profess to do anything. I think when you get to be my age, you got to know your place, and my place is rebounding and defense. And even with that one move, I believe I did shoot it over him a couple of times.
Not what Tony said.
Tony just went defense.
He said your place is on the pine.
And the one move was you missed bunnies.
No, I missed bunnies that first week. Yeah, it was horrible. Like I said, I shouldn't have been out there in the first place. But
you're making excuses again.
I'm not making excuses.
He was out there.
Come and see me when he's 62.
Wow.
That boy.
Wow.
You'll be 92.
Yeah, you'll be dead.
Are we still going to be playing then?
Come see me and put it on the poll, Guillermo, at LeBatard Show. As a taunt, are you scared of come see me when you're 62?
I would take 62-year-old Ron Magill over 62-year-old Tony, right?
No, you would not.
But it's going to be.
I mean, I wouldn't.
You would
but I think
take
most
all
people-
versions of Tony over all versions.
But it'll be like 115-year-old Ron Magill against 62-year-old Tony.
And
at
he'll
that point
still
in time.
be kicking Tony's ass
Damn
because
right.
it's amazing that he's 62 years old and he's still running full court. That's a success. That period. That if you, in fact, put this on the poll as
not
well.
a big court,
Put it on the poll, Guillermo at LeBatard Show. If you're still running full court at 62, are you still
And you're
getting
the
it
oldest guy out there.
by years, by many years? Yes.
By years, yes. By years, I'm the oldest guy out there.
And playing against these disrespectful punks like Tony, who thinks he's like a Sky Lord because all he is young.
There is one.
Skylord.
I don't know what happened there.
That's
I'm
a
just
good
gonna,
nickname.
Yeah, we could. I'm like the Time Lord, but the Sky Lord.
Skylord.
There was one point that Ron was playing a 2-3. He's the anchor on a 2-3. Is like,
Of course he is.
he's like Joel Embiid out there, just swatting shots and just being big in the middle. There was one point where I did grab the ball at the free throw line, extended, kind of faced up to Ron, made a dribble to my left, and then threw a nutmeg right between his legs to an open guy.
Nutmeg, the old
That's
embarrassing.
What an
Go
asshole.
see him when you're 62.
What an ass.
I didn't want to say it, but
Well, you,
Tony,
you
what are
did want to
doing?
say
You
it.
megged Ron?
You did want to say it. What do you mean?
Friend of the show.
You didn't have to say it.
It was
you
after
said
he scored on me a couple times, and I'm like, oh, let me teach this old man a lesson.
Well, wait a minute.
Wait,
Why
he
are you
scored
talking
on
about
you?
that? Yeah.
Right,
How did
yeah.
he score on you a couple times?
What I just said. He's got that one move, catches the middle of the post, a little shimmy shake, and then over the
Ah,
shot.
the
Have you
dream
noticed
shake.
the real Tony's come out recently? He's got that one move. He's 62.
I mean, what are you going to do?
Yes. Ron, he nutmegged you. How'd you feel about that? Did that feel disrespectful? Because you got those giant long limbs. It's like nutmegging a giraffe.
It was a good pass. It's a good pass.
Begrudging respect he's given you.
How many rebounds do you average per game?
Hey, he's a good ball player. You know, when I was his age, I was a good ball player too.
Right, you were better.
You're too respectful, Ron, and you're being very kind.
No, I'm listen. like I said, when you get to my age, you understand your place. Your place is defense. You know, it ended up that on Saturday that one player walked off because I called an offensive foul, and he goes, "Oh, who calls offensive foul here?" I told him ahead of time.
Wow.
There's one guy just thinks he can just run in there and do whatever he wants to run over. So I said, next time I'm going to call it, and I called it, and he got all pissed off.
It ended the game.
You can't do that. You can't call offensive fouls and pick up basketball.
Yes.
It ended the game.
Ron called an offensive foul. He got a rebound. It was actually my fault. It's my fault.
It ended the game?
Yes, it's my fault. Yeah. So I got the rebound, and I was taking up the court, and I shot a three where it was a 2-point game. We were about to get to 15. I shoot a three. I miss it. The ball rebounds out. This guy grabs the ball, takes it baseline, tries to drive in. Ron already had told him the game before, I'm going to call an offensive foul because he leads with the shoulder.
Take that charge.
Ron calls the offensive foul. The game gets thrown off because he's like, what's going on here? He throws the ball, like he gets pissed off. The game ends,
Who got pissed off, Ron or the guy?
No, the guy that Ron called the offensive foul on.
Technical
foul.
Yeah, Ron, nobody likes the guy who calls an offensive foul.
He warned him, Dan. He did it. Good call, Ron.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's fine. But you know what? If that's the way you're going to play, that anybody can just ramrod in there all the time, then I'm going to start beating the shit out of people.
Jesus. Ramrod.
I want to play that way. Because the question is, you know, you guys are asking the question, who calls offensive foul? And I said basketball players.
Yeah,
call
he did
it.
say that.
Right.
He did
Referees
say that,
do that, right?
Calling it.
Zebras.
That's right.
Did you get up and do the signal? You got to put your hand behind your head and go.
It is an integral part. It is an integral part of the game, especially as a big man. When you got these guys who just think they can just run in there and put their shoulder down, and do whatever they want. It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Wait a minute. I like Whittingham's version of events here. I want to imagine Ron Magill.
I love a good charge call.
How is it that you guys? I don't understand what happens around here where we decide to discuss this and you guys decide to stumble at the end to the only part of the story that matters. Like, we've talked about every part of this except the most interesting part, which is Ron Magill ended a game with an offensive charge call, which is disrespectful to anyone who has played pickup basketball.
I didn't want to call him out, Dan. I didn't want to say Ron had a charge call in a pickup game. I didn't want to say that.
Not only is he proud of it, I want him to argue on behalf of this principle, but I also want him to believe in it so much that he's doing it the way Whittingham has done it, which is at 62 years old, tired of this young people shit. He warns them several times. You put your shoulder into me, and I'm going to escalate into calling an offensive foul. I'm going to call the code red, and then immediately does it, then does what we imagine to be the action of a referee with a charge call as this other guy yells leaving the court and the game ends. I have that right.
No, listen, guys, it's not just that he put his shoulder down. This guy would start running from, 10, 15 feet out and never look up at anything in front of him. He's just going to run through whatever. And I see it coming. I plant my feet for literally 2 seconds before he runs over me. It's just ridiculous.
Ron, we were in Austin, Texas a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things that the city is known for is its bats. Yeah. And apparently, in one of the bridges, the bats hang under the bridge. I always thought that bats hung out in caves. Is that like a
No. They hang over any overhang. They're bats called the palm bats that they go underneath palm fronds. They're called tent bats, and they cut the fibers of the palm frond so the palm frond makes a tent, and they all stay under the big palm frond. So they'll go under anything that's an overhang.
Tell us about bats. You've talked about them before, but you have obviously a lot of information on a lot of different creatures and how they're important to the entirety of the ecosystem.
Absolutely. There are thousands of species of bats. There are actually more species of bats than any other kind of mammal in the world. And people hear bats, and first of all, because of all this vampire Dracula stuff, they're all vampire bats. The fact is, I think it's less than 1% of all bats in the world are actually vampire bats. Most bats are frugivores or insectivores. They do great services. The insectivores are the biggest mosquito controllers you could ever imagine, mosquitoes being the deadliest animal in the world. More people die because of mosquitoes than any other animal on the planet. The other bats are frugivores, and they're pollinators. So they're pollinating plants that provide the fruits and vegetables that we eat. So all these animals are connected to the quality of life for all of us. This whole thing about bats flying into your hair, getting caught up into your hair, that's a bunch of crap. And even vampire bats aren't the horrible creatures that people make them out to be. I was bitten by a vampire bat in Panama.
What?
I woke up one morning. not in the neck, and it didn't leave 2 little holes, because the way a vampire bat bites you is I was sleeping and I woke up in the morning and I see a whole bunch of blood on my ankle, because basically what a vampire bat does is it lands on you while you're asleep, and it has a type of a numbing fluid in its saliva. It licks your skin, and when it kind of numbs the outside of your skin, it takes its teeth and doesn't bite into you and suck. It creates a laceration in your skin that you don't feel because it's been numbed by the saliva, and as the blood drips out, it just licks the blood out. Okay, that's how they get their blood. They don't do what you see Bela Lugosi doing, and then they fly away, and most animals never feel it. That's why when you see cattle, you'll see vampire bats have been on cattle. If you see a cow, like, on its neck, many times you see all this blood dripping down its neck, and you go, oh my God, what's that? Because what happens is once the vampire bat gets enough blood and flies away, that saliva is still an anticoagulant, so it continues to bleed a lot afterwards.
They should call it the Patino bat.
It's great, Stugotz.
He's so pleased with himself. He
workshopped
on a room that was bored when he filed it 15 seconds ago, and he went with it anyway. Billy, what do you got for McGill?
Big. Ron, last week we suspect that we discovered a bird living in the ceiling of our kitchen over here at the studio. And to our knowledge, the only sustenance that bird has had since we've discovered it is Hildy talking to it. Is there a way that bird can survive there? And how did it possibly get in there?
It depends what kind of a bird it is. If it's an insect eater, you might have a lot of roaches in that studio, and it could be at the buffet line. Ants, any kind of insects. If it's an insect eater, it could be surviving that way. If it's a seed or fruit eater, no, it's got to struggle unless you guys are leaving leftovers all over the place when you come out there. I've been in there a couple of times. I see your plates still with some food on them on the tables around there. And if you leave that and you're not picking up, that bird is coming down and eating that stuff when you're not around.
It's quite the accusation, calling us messy.
He's a vampire.
I saw at the weekend there was some news surrounding Ron and Rita, the bald eagles at the zoo. Can you tell us what happened?
Now. They're
well, one of them got stuck in some fishing wire. What happened?
Oh no.
Yeah. The one fledged, our one fledged, but then the second one, we realized when it tried to fledge, it was hooked onto monofilament line that got caught on its leg and was stuck to the nest. So we had to incorporate the help of Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. They brought in their platform truck 34. It goes up 100 feet. We got into the bucket, went up. We went to try to release the bird. She actually flew and snapped the line. So she was released. We got all the monofilament line out of the nest, but then we had to catch the bird later on because she still had line around her foot, which could have cut off the circulation and killed, caused an infection and led to her death. So we did catch her. We got the monofilament line off, and we went back up with the bucket truck, put her back in the nest, and now she's back in the nest. Parents have come back, so hopefully she recovers and hopefully leaves that nest within the next couple of days for good, because I'm about over this.
Wait a minute. What the hell just happened?
Jesus.
Wait a minute. You did a lot. Wait a minute. You did a huge.
Dude, these birds have put me through so much stress. I can't even begin to tell you. A lot of stress.
That was
and listen, one of the lessons here for all you fishermen out there, fisher ladies, please dispose of your fishing line properly. Don't just throw it on the side, when you pull a lure off or something like that, because that line can be disastrous for animals. All kinds of native wildlife. Fishing line causes all kinds of problems.
Unless it goes a couple days longer, then throw all your fishing line up there, because you're over them. You want those birds to die.
No, listen. This has been such a roller coaster of emotion for me. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired. I want this last bird to get off, be successful, so we can put a bow on this story and say it was happily ever after.
You got the good PR. Time to move on. Next story.
Now that the news is gone, see how it is.
Trust me. When you guys have kids, you'll be happy when they finally leave the house.
The nest.
Say, wow, we did our job.
You are an old person calling fouls in a pickup basketball game that are offensive and spiritually and actually, and then you're the old man saying these birds need to leave the nest. I'm tired of taking care of them after you tried to do a very nice thing.
I don't take care of them. I'm not taking care of them. Lloyd Brown, Wildlife Rescue Dade County, they did most of the taking care of the birds, so to speak. But the bottom line is, there's a lot of stress in watching them kind of develop and hopefully make their way, knowing that you really, there's not a whole lot you could do if something goes terribly wrong. So I'm tired. I'm just tired of losing sleep at night, wondering, oh my God, is it going to be okay? Is it going to be out of there? Is it getting enough food? Is it not going to get sick? Because you've invested a lot. I mean, this has been since last October, guys. Every day I'm on this freaking camera watching these birds, and it's exciting and it's inspiring, but it's tiring.
Sounds like Lloyd Brown's been doing all the work. You just kind of been showing up on
He
the
has
cameras
been.
there.
The cameras are on, though. There's Ron, right?
Yeah.
Taking
So
care of the birds.
exhausting. Going around talking about these eagles. That they have
Look
up
at
here.
me.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Listen,
why are none of these birds named Lloyd?
Let me make this very clear, guys. I'm the storyteller. He's the story, okay? I'm a good storyteller. I'll give myself that. But I give out the credit to Lloyd and the Wildlife Rescue. They did the work.
I haven't heard his name till today.
Yeah, this is the last chapter. First time we're hearing about old Lloyd.
Well, when was the last time we talked about these Eagles?
You're just pissed off today in a way that's unreasonable, and I
blame Tony.
Very cranky.
It started with Tony, and it's only gotten worse from there.
I'm not pissed off at Tony. I'm not pissed
You're
off.
pissed off at the
Like I
birds.
said.
You're pissed off at everybody. Can you tell us how hard it is to catch a bald eagle that has filament on it? That sounds like a pain in the ass. How do you catch a bald eagle?
Well, she was not very, she was tired because that was the first time she ever flew when she flew from the nest. So she was tired. So she wasn't that much of an agile bird to fly away. So with a long pole and a net, Lloyd was able to catch her.
I want to ask you about this story. An invasive,
Of course, it was Lloyd.
Good
an
for Lloyd.
invasive species of spider the size of a child's hand is expected to colonize the entire East Coast this spring by parachuting down from the sky, researchers at the University of Georgia announced last week.
From Japan.
Large Joro spiders, millions of them, are expected to begin ballooning up and down the East Coast as early as May. Researchers have determined that the spiders can tolerate cold weather but are harmless to humans as their fangs are too small to break human skin. Yes, and it is a native Japanese spider.
Joe Rose
Yes.
spiders?
The big dog?
Joro.
Yeah. So harmless to humans. That's all you needed to hear, and we don't need to worry about anything else.
But why are they parachuting in from the sky, these Joe Rose spiders?
Big dog?
They parachute in from the sky and they ask you, how'd the ladies treat you?
I don't know exactly why they're coming in from the sky. I don't know if they're able to get airborne. I don't know what the situation was, those spiders. I just heard the story.
Want to ask Lloyd?
Thank you, Ron. We will talk to you next week.
Ron hates us right now.
I mean, it was a bombardment. It was totally unfair what we did to him from the start. Like he's such a nice man. We've made him fed up with the animals. It was 15 minutes, and it started with Tony, and he nutmegged him, which is just assholery of the highest order. He's 62, man.
What do you want me to do? I'm playing basketball, man. It was an open pass.
Can you assess Tony's game, Ron, real quick before you go? Like he shoots a lot,
he's
right?
just a
little
young
too much.
person, and
He loves to shoot the three-pointer.
Yeah.
He loves to shoot
Classic.
the three-pointer.
Yeah.
And he's probably about maybe 25-30%.
Oh,
Ask him, Ron, what's my shooting percentage when I'm in the paint with you? Because that feels like more like 60 to 70%. Like the baseline fadeaway that I hit on you. The baseline fadeaway was
Tony,
nice.
if I recall, you hit one shot on me.
You know that's not true. 25% Tony. Don't get caught up in showbiz. You know that's not true. We're gonna live stream. You know what? We're gonna live stream Saturday.
10% Tony, not 10-day Tony. Ron, thank you, sir.
1 for 10.
We will
guys.
talk.
1 for 10, Tony.
It's shocking.
He just left today. He didn't say bye.
He's mad. Yeah, he's legitimately mad.
Definitely hates us.
There are some things I want to get to, okay? I don't know why Greg Cote is taking off his headsets. I think he thinks
the show's
the
over.
show is
Yeah.
over. Is that
Your
what I-
headsets are off.
They're always
Talking
on.
about.
I've got some things to get to here, okay? Because I don't know what's true or not true. Did Adnan Virk fall for a fake account when it comes to a Chris Rock apology? Because I can't find confirmation of a Chris Rock apology elsewhere. But before we get to that, and we were negligent yesterday in not getting to the Taylor Hawkins news that hit people a lot. They hit people strong that the drummer for the Foo Fighters passed away over the weekend in Bogota. But we've been negligent so far, not just there, in that I just saw on ESPN Richard Jefferson's top 5 contenders announced in the NBA.
Wow.
And I thought you might want to hear them. Top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Jefferson has proclaimed it. These are the top 5 teams in the sport. There is no sixth.
These are his 5 teams who have the best chance to win the championship this year.
This is what he's got right now, and he's announcing it formally. It's out there now, and it is. Yes, it is.
Big.
Yes, I'm stunned that it's been announced. It seems a little early for that.
I have a question. Is this in order, or these are just the 5?
No, I'm going to give you the 5.
when they do that.
No,
just 5.
It's not random. It's not put them where you want. He's putting them in the correct order.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Wow.
So are you ready for this? We got to stop everything we're doing.
I'm not sure.
Well, there wasn't a reason to talk about anything other than Chris Rock and Will Smith yesterday, but now there is. Because number 5 is the Grizzlies.
Wow. The Grizz.
You writing them down?
Number 4. Yeah. The Miami Heat.
Whoa! Wow, how about that?
It's actually refreshing.
You're relieved, right? You thought I was going to taunt you. You thought the reason I'm announcing it is because he's put it in the top 5, and I knew that would be your greatest joy today. But ahead of the Heat, the Celtics.
Whoa. Wow.
How about that?
Whoa. The Time Lord news?
How about that?
That list is from today?
Right now, fresh.
No, he must
like
be
15
confused.
minutes ago.
He must be
Mike.
confused.
Yeah.
Celtics are number 3. Number 2 is the Bucks.
Wow.
And number 1.
No way.
Is the Suns.
Wow. Love to have the Sixers, huh?
I think that's a
and
good
the
list.
Nets. And the Nets.
I mean, they're presently an 8 seed, right? So
Yeah.
that's a good list.
It is a good list.
Good list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solid.
The Celtics 3rd, though.
I'd move the
that was my
Grizz
one.
up, I think.
I
would
would beef
too.
with it. Without the Time Lord, you got to reconfigure.
Nah, you do it now, so then next week you move things around. You know what I mean? You have to shuffle things.
That's a good point.
Classic Kuiper. Yeah.
This won't be his final list.
What do you mean?
It won't be his final
No,
list.
it's not.
It's never the final list.
There's 8
Dan.
games to go, Dan.
It won't be his final list this
Ever.
week.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
no.
Gotta update it every week.
That's right.
Mike's right.
It won't be his final list this week.
He'll have another on Friday.
Yeah.
Bottom of the hour, he's got to give a completely different list.
That's
Yep.
not true at
Come
all.
on, it's Tuesday, dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put it on
Sixers
the
will
Don't
be
impugn
one.
the integrity
Yeah.
of the top 5 list. What are we doing here?
Guillermo, put it on the poll at LeBatard Show. Will Richard Jefferson have an entirely different top 5 list by the end of the hour? Is the Chris Rock thing real that Adnan Virk published? Because the apology was profuse, and I was surprised. I didn't think it was real.
I don't think it's real. No, there's Adnan co-signed a screen cap off of Facebook, which is a pretty big red flag of a Chris Rock apology or statement in which it was a profuse apology to the Smith family. That does not appear to be accurate. I can't find another verified check with access to a Chris Rock statement. Right now, all we have is Will Smith's apology that I think generally was pretty well received.
Let's, for a moment, though, examine something that we did not examine yesterday, Stugotz. In all of our dissection of obsessing over an amazing pop culture moment, Mike thinks he saw something that I'm not sure is real, but as we wonder, what's Chris Rock's next step? Is he going to apologize? Is he going to just turn it into material for the next 10 years of his life? Is Chris Rock going to be a friend who forgives? Is Chris Rock going to talk this out with Will Smith? Because there's been reports that they have not yet spoken.
Puffy Daddy Combs said that they spoke afterwards and it's all love.
No, but
he said that on stage. He was like, you should do that.
That was denied.
Right.
The reporting
It's been
on
aggregated.
The reporting on that is now fresher, and that is TMZ and others are saying that that's not accurate, what was reported there.
I think this is headed towards a celebrity boxing match. I do. I really do. I think it's a great idea. The guys were telling me Logan Paul was offering, I think for the undercard.
It's Jake Paul.
Or Jake Paul, excuse me. Paul,
Logan Paul's fighting
Jake,
Rey
whatever.
Mysterio this weekend.
But $15 million each for those two to fight on the undercard?
It has to happen.
That's not real money for them.
You think $15 million is going to get Will Smith out of bed?
Not Will
I think
Smith.
they're on
I don't
the
know.
undercard.
I mean,
No,
to
they would
take
be on the undercard.
to take a punch in the face? I
Yeah.
mean, why not? And
But
just
that's
drop?
that's
Chris Rock just did it for
That
free.
would never happen.
millions of dollars are not any kind of incentive to
I don't
these
know,
two.
Chris
Dan.
Rock's going
Never
on
enough.
tour. Like,
Yeah.
how long is it going to take him to make $15 million on tour? Because he could do it in 5 seconds.
Yep.
People are telling me that it's going to be a pay-per-view fight for charity, and it's going to be a slap fight. It's not going to be gloves. There will be no closed fists. No.
What? I'm serious.
This is serious reporting.
Watch it happen. It's going to be a pay-per-view charity slap fight. I think it's going to be 3 rounds, although that's still in negotiation. But that's what's going to happen. And because both sides need to repair the dirt on their reputation a little bit. What better way to do it than to raise a bunch of them? And I would pay for that pay-per-view, by the way. I would love to see it. I think Chris Rock is the sneaky favorite, even though he's a little older and a little smaller.
Yeah.
We'll wait till the odds come out.
You didn't know before you. I don't know who stole whose take here. Whether Stugotz stole yours or you are stealing his. But when you decided that you were going to go all in on the idea of I think celebrity boxing matches, where this is headed,
slap fights,
you thought that Chris Rock was both bigger and younger by a great deal than Will Smith, and were shocked to learn that Chris Rock is a good deal smaller and a good deal older.
Yeah, shock may be a strong word.
You were shocked.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're trying to get Chris Rock and Will Smith on the Greg Cote Show podcast.
Oh, for the love
Whether
of God.
that's going to happen or not, I don't know. Tune in next week to see. But
anyway, the thing that Mike saw that not a lot of people saw in that exchange between Will Smith and Chris Rock is Mike thinks that he saw a flash on Chris Rock where he thought for a moment in the middle of that, I'm going to unleash my comedic fangs right now because of what I know of these people. And he heard the words I could, thinking you do not want to get into a verbal back and forth with a comedian. A stand-up comedian of that kind of excellence has a sculpted skill that you simply will lose, whoever it is you are, if you decide to heckle one of these people. You don't have a way to win a comedian of that level. And Mike thinks he saw that Chris Rock was ready to unload a chamber.
Yeah, after watching it several times, I picked up on that. And some people on the internet also have too, that after Keep My Wife's Name Out Your Bleeping Mouth gets uttered for the second time, and we all really know that it's an awkward situation and a legit slap and not a stunt, that it washes over Chris Rock. Okay, I'm not going to do that. And then he finally comes to and realizes what just happened. And he looks at Will Smith and he's like, I could. And he looks to the side, composes himself, and goes on giving out the award. But you see it flash across his face, and he actually utters it. I could. I think that's him just loading up, ready to air all the dirty laundry, all the Hollywood secrets about them, and just eviscerate them. But he thinks better of it.
Can you imagine if he had? Can you imagine?
Would have been a bad look for him.
Well, but it also would have been understandable.
It would have been incredible to see. It would have been closely guarded Hollywood secrets probably falling by the wayside, and all of a sudden everyone's exposed to it. It would have been, drama of the highest order. It also wouldn't have been a good look for Chris Rock, because I think he's come away from this actually smelling like roses. I really do.
Oh, except when you start throwing the toxic masculinity stuff in there, and people are saying,
I mean, that's not a real discussion that's being had. That's Twitter. That's Twitter engagement stuff. I think everyone kind of knows. Generally, the consensus is Will Smith was totally out of line to do that. His apology.
Oh, there are plenty of people arguing, though, that we sound like the police in how we're discussing this, and we're just laughing about it. Like, we're largely interested in it, but just laughing at all of it. And there are a number of people accusing our show. Mike, you underestimate this, man. There are any number of people listening to our show saying, you can tell this show hasn't been in a confrontation ever, that you have to respect your wife in that situation. That's not a straw man. That's a whole lot of people. Stugotz was trying to make this argument yesterday. That he would have walked on that. Said that the sheer number of people on social media who are 4'3" and weigh 116 pounds saying, I would slap the shit out of so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so if I was disrespected that way, and my wife was disrespected that way.
I did offer the qualifier that David Sampson would have to be the presenter. I mean, for me to walk on stage and slap him. You know?
4'3" has an advantage.
Yeah, 116 for 4'3" is pretty jacked, probably. The big, strong 4'3".
Spider monkey strength of a little person,
I would love to see what that looks like.
I've been like really thinking about this. You know, yesterday I was like, let's really think about this situation here. You know what I came up with? There's two kinds of people in this world. You're either a Chris Rock or you're a Will Smith. Let's go around the room. Are you more likely to get slapped or slap somebody? Because I'm a Chris Rock. I'll admit it. I'm going to say right now, I am going to get slapped 100 times before I walk up and just slap somebody like Will Smith did.
Right.
Or have a response.
Woody, you're a Chris Rock. Of course.
I mean, I don't understand why you immediately had to go at me for this, but yes, I am.
It's not a go. I'm a Chris Rock, too. I can look at my Chris Rocks.
Fine.
Billy, Chris Rock.
I'm a Chris Rock.
Stugotz, Chris Rock. Dan, I don't know. I think you might be a Chris Rock.
Well, I've slapped more people than I've been
All right,
slapped
you're a Will
by.
Smith.
Why?
Greg Cote.
Wow,
slapped
Will
Rock.
Quick
Strange
follow-up.
brag.
How many people have you slapped?
I'm going to say 4.
You've slapped 4.
Not like that. Not like that.
Really? Same night, random
names.
times.
How many in the last year?
This was a thing back when at college and afterward, my brother would delight in it. You can call him and we can go through the storytelling because it's not, I was getting into bar fights for a while, but they weren't fights. It was just my brother would get into things and I would end up ending those things, and they were
With a slap?
not with punching, with a slap. Yes, not to actually get into a fight. But I
Keep
would,
my brother's name out your fucking mouth.
yes, my brother would look for these things and can tell
Backhand
you
or-
those stories. No, straight meaty hand. Yes.
Backhand's more disrespectful.
Well,
I
the
think.
greatest disrespect was the one time it happened, and he got arrested in New Orleans on Bourbon Street. Yes,
Is that when my dad was there with the mashed potatoes in his hair?
Did you ever do it with just a glove?
Ooh, a glove is such a
Oh, a
false-
glove is the
fencing-
greatest
a fencing-
slap.
a fencing
glove. Yes, you get him with the fingers. Yeah.
I didn't mean to throw out my slapping bona fides, but you asked.
I can't believe you have 2 more slaps than I thought you might have. 4 slaps is a lot of
Who are
slaps.
the Will Smiths in the room? So Dan's a Will Smith.
Mhm.
Mike, what are you?
Depends.
I think Roy's a Will Smith. He said when I brought this up. He said no one would ever slap me.
How many slaps do you have to your name?
Those are all closed fists. I'm sorry. No slaps.
How many though? How many, Roy?
How many do you have
How many?
to your name?
I don't know. Plenty.
Roy, the none your
I don't
business
know,
stuff.
that
I
sounds
don't know,
flimsy.
Roy. I don't. I'm
they're
not-
all younger.
You've got a
Careful.
fake tough guy act that
Yeah,
I don't think.
no, there's no fake tough guy.
Careful.
And
Careful.
if by
Dan.
some miracle I ever get slapped, I'm not going to be as professional as Chris Rock was. I'll tell you that right now. There's going to be a response.
I follow you on
Receipts.
Twitter. I'm aware.
But I believe okay. I don't want to escalate this with Roy, but I don't know how many of us can imagine you just brawling your way through the streets of Miami. Like I don't think that
Some of
that's.
us don't need to talk about it.
But you were?
Well, I'm just telling you that these are verifiable. These are verifiable things. There will be an Ernie Els
I
out there
cannot
who can
believe you.
document
4
my
slaps
stories.
is more than it's higher than average.
I'm not.
So you're the closest thing to Kimbo in this room.
I will say, hold on a second. One of these slaps involves me with my shirt over my head in Coconut Grove and my ear bleeding because it's the guy I shouldn't have
doesn't
slapped.
count.
No,
It's
but
more
that's,
like a flail.
but that's the guy I shouldn't have slapped. Like that's the guy. That's the guy.
You slapped the wrong guy?
you always run that risk.
This is where my fighting career ended, right there, when I told you the story of when I realized this person isn't afraid or disoriented by the fact that I slapped them, but instead said, oh, it's like that. And then next thing I know, I've got a car honking at me in the street. My shirt has been pulled over my head. I've lost a shoe and my ear is bleeding.
Career?
Update: Adnan has deleted his tweet. He realizes he got caught. There's important context. You're either a Will Smith or a Chris Rock. I think it's a disrespect of a loved one that really, even in his apology, he said that it was what he said about Jada that made him lose control and get emotional.
But I think a Chris Rock would never go up and do that. Like if Chris Rock's wife got, like he would just maybe yell some things, but there's just, it takes a certain kind of person like
but
to
Chris
just
Rock-
walk up to somebody and I'm going to smack the shit out of you. Like there's just, I can't find a scenario where I think I'm going to get to the point where it's either you've harmed my family to the point where I'm going to try to kill, like there's like a middle ground here if I'm just going to slap you and knock some
I'm
sense
a Will
into you.
Smith. I'm a Will Smith because I would never be the Chris Rock that says something about another man's wife or another woman's wife. I just wouldn't say that about anybody.
Well, you're a comedian. Like that's the
But
thing.
Chris
There's
Rock
this
would
safe
know that.
space.
Chris Rock would know it's a
But
comedian.
the note I feel like that's being missed in everyone's examination of this is even if you would be indignant enough to the rage, steroid-addled or otherwise, that would make you protect a loved one that way, there'd still be yet another governor about not doing it there. Like not doing it under any circumstances there.
Just not assaulting him, right? What if he walks up and just very dramatically, you can hear it on the mic, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. And like, what if he doesn't hit him?
I'm more likely to be a Will Smith after applying the context of what happened in that situation. last fight I got into, an actual fist fight, was over defending my wife.
I think I would start off as a Will Smith, and as I got closer to the guy I'm going to slap, I would cave. I mean, but at least I give the appearance I'm defending my wife or trying to do that.
I just don't feel like there's anyone in this room or listening to this that would have handled that way. Nobody.
Not that.
Because of the setting. Nobody.
No.
Zero people listening to this right now, zero, would have handled that situation that way in that setting.
Also, no one likes to talk about this, but it's the fault entirely of the producers. They wanted that loungy setup. Can you imagine the same thing happen, and now Will Smith has to hop over Anthony Hopkins to get to the stage. I'm going up there. Then because
I've got him going sideways, standing up and like,
excuse me.
Sorry.
I'm like trying to get up there.
Stand up to like that. Yeah,
Brad, hold my phone.
You have more time to think when you're telling Gerard Depardieu to move.
I love the idea of Will Smith parkouring over Judi Dench. We've got to update our tournament here, Stugotz, because we're down to 4 teams, and it was a good run. Everyone rescued, our community rescued the tournament there because basically all of the nominees were the last couple of months, and so we are grateful for that. Also, have to get to Jimmy Johnson giving an old man swagger speech, close to 80 years old, about the University of Miami. Greg Cote reminded me of it during the break when he was talking about what the schoolyard rules were when he was a fighter, and that he would not slap, that it would only be punches and shoves. Yeah. That a slap, I'm arguing on behalf of slap being maximum disrespectful. Like, slap is the stop before you disagree, Billy.
No. Slap is maybe like 3rd on the list of disrespect. Spit is number 1, right?
Yep.
Spit is so much more disrespectful than a slap. When you spit in someone's face or even at their feet, no.
What's number 2, though?
You don't spit.
I think slap is number 2, though. What's number 2? Or did you just start a list and you don't really?
No, I mean, I don't have it on hand.
Slap with a glove?
Let me see. Maybe it's under my desk.
Slap with a fencing glove, yes. Would be higher on the list.
By the way, I've got the over-under for my dad's fights in his life at 1/2, and I'm taking the under.
Well, what do you mean by fight?
What do you mean by
Seriously, you got a physical altercation.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
Schoolyard rules, whatever it is.
Okay, the schoolyard rule is the hierarchy is number 1 is a punch, an old school punch.
Yeah.
He used to do the noises. Usually when my dad does that, he'll throw a punch and go.
Okay, have you ever punched someone? Have you been in a fight that involved you punching another person?
No. I have shoved.
Oh, a shove.
You've shoved.
He was ready if
That's
necessary,
right before punching.
The shove escalates into a wrestling match.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there is a stop between the shove and the punch, which is wrestling.
Right.
But it's with an R and an apostrophe, wrestling?
Yeah, wrestling. It wasn't wrestling. It was wrestling. So you shove and you brawl. That was Greg Cote style fighting back in the schoolyard.
All right.
And throwing rocks.
How many times did you do that? I threw rocks too. I actually did.
Yeah,
wow, glad you said that. Rock fights.
Yeah, we were rock
throwing
throwers.
rocks. I don't know where this goes on the disrespect list, but I would think that throwing rocks goes
Gotta
pretty
do what
high.
you gotta do.
Right.
I mean,
I think Will Smith should have thrown a rock at Chris Rock.
What about poking in the eye?
That's like 7th. A bite is pretty
Throw
bad.
the hand up, block it.
And a hair pull.
what are we, 3 Stooges? I mean,
The Marx Brothers of confrontation. You mentioned the noogie.
oh, I love a noogie.
Yeah.
I do.
You are talking about the throwing of rocks, and Jimmy Johnson, for many years, has been a fiery public orator. He once upon a time, before a Super Bowl, had a few drinks and called a radio station and guaranteed, like Dave Roberts is now guaranteeing on Dan Patrick that the Dodgers will win. He guaranteed that they would beat the 49ers. And one of the times...
That'd be a weird cross-sport battle.
No, Jimmy Johnson...
Oh, I thought you had the Dodgers beating the 49ers.
No, Dave Roberts guaranteed this week on Dan Patrick that the Dodgers were. Jimmy Johnson guaranteed years ago, I think it was Niners, before a playoff game, that they would beat them. But he has made a lot of speeches, and one of them that I remember at the University of Miami was after winning a championship, screaming at his team, face nuclear red, everybody throws rocks at us. Everybody throws rocks at us. And now he has gone to the University of Miami campus and is trying to summon the swagger at close to 80 years old. Were you guys moved by this? I have not heard it, but I was just surprised to hear that we had sound of Jimmy Johnson talking about swagger at near 80 years old.
This is from the coaches clinic that happened at the University of Miami that was attended by Ed Orgeron and Sean McVay, part of the Miami. And what I like about this clip is that Jimmy Johnson kind of contradicts himself and says a lot of things that even people who would consider themselves Miami fans would kind of call bullshit on.
It's called something that started right here in Miami. Swagger. And people get confused about swagger. Sometimes they look about the old Miami teams and they said swagger was celebrating. No. Swagger was confidence. You're confident that you're going to kick somebody's ass. That's what swagger is. We were one of the least penalized teams in the entire country. We didn't taunt. We didn't do that we're going to get 15-yard penalties. But we were excited. We celebrated. I wanted our guys to be excited, to be enthusiastic. That's what swagger is.
It's quite the AC unit.
I mean, they had so many
Facility upgrade.
What do you mean you never taunted?
They invented taunting.
Later on in the clip, he goes on to say, and then we would have our fun. Well, then, that was taunting, Jimmy.
They created a section in a rule book based off of his team.
Of their taunting.
Was he passing the buck to Erickson? I don't understand what he was doing there. You had Michael Irvin on your team.
Stugotz is so right, though. All I was noticing the whole time was that air conditioning thing they got in that indoor practice facility.
That or industrial fans.
I love a big-ass fan.
Tarmac.
Bad audio quality. We will get to...
Isn't Jimmy selling a book called Swagger? He did a book recently, I think with Dave Hyde, your boy Greg, called Swagger, no?
That seemed like a cheap shot at Greg Cote.
I was just pointing out his boy.
I'm happy for him.
Of course you are. I know you are.
Yeah, so he's clearly defining what swagger is. It's not getting penalized.
What does Jimmy Johnson mean to 18 to 22-year-old college football players?
He's the guy from that pregame show. Yeah.
Is the guy from that pregame show the guy who's going to fire me up ahead of the season? You think like Mario Cristobal's got to gather the lads around for 8 minutes and be like, hey, this is what Jimmy Johnson meant to this, had to give them a history lesson before the guy walks into the room.
I thought about this recently because they have Ed Reed and Jason Taylor hanging around, and the natural thing is this has got to be amazing for these kids that they're recruiting. And then I got to thinking about it. If you're a 17-year-old kid that's class of 23 that's being recruited to the University of Miami, I don't think you have a memory of Jason Taylor playing football, really. He maybe vaguely.
But if you're from Miami, you know who he is, right? You've heard of him.
Yeah.
Dude, you could know who he is and heard of him and not really actually know what that means to be
Joy's
talking
brother.
to. Yeah. Precisely. He's probably getting more questions about Joy than he is about his playing days.
Nobody says Miami cooler than Jimmy Johnson.
He says Miami.
That's why you have it. Miami.
Miami. I had a Mike is washed moment the other day when I saw that Robbie and Bobby, they're twins. That's right. They were named Robbie and Bobby. Washington committed to the University of Miami. I saw their dad playing at Killian. And when I saw Bobby and Robbie Washington, I'm like, please don't tell me. Please don't tell me it was Bobby Washington.
But do you guys realize as you say it that through how it is you grew up generationally in this town, how stunning it is that Miami is one of the programs that can go now and get a Barry Switzer or somebody to pass down the tradition of, I might not know what that old guy did, but I know that he's an important guy here who Mario Cristobal seems to respect a whole lot. That Miami is one of those programs is crazy to me. One of the blue blood programs that can go and get the old guy out of the Keys to come speak to his team the way that all of these tradition-rich schools, the way that Nebraska trots around Osborne, the way Barry Alvarez still makes a living coming out of retirement, and the way Bob Stoops is going to continue to make a living, just being an old guy who represents a previous time. When I saw Barry Switzer on the Fox pregame show before an Oklahoma game, his story's fascinating, not unlike Jimmy's. Goes through the Dallas Cowboys, wins championships at both levels. I was thinking to myself, what 18-year-old at Oklahoma has any idea what this person is? This artifact, this fossil being brought back from a different time to represent what built college football around here.
But in some respects, those programs, Oklahoma is still incredibly relevant, but Nebraska, and I've always kind of associated Notre Dame with this, but they've had a ton of recent success. But Miami is kind of becoming that, where you lean on the old guys, you lean on the tradition, and it gets further and further away from it. Jason Taylor stopped playing football in 2011. If you're a college athlete now, max you saw him when you were 10 or 11 years old. So I think Miami is kind of becoming one of these programs that now it's flipped completely, where it was all in some ways the new money of college football, and now they're the old heads that have to remind you about how good we once were.
No, but it's a whole region. You realize a generation in South Florida has grown up where Jimmy Johnson and Jason Taylor get to be the only relevant things because it was so shitty for 20 years. As it became America's most popular sport everywhere else, there were no stars here. They've used up all that collateral. Both the football in Miami has been shit for 20 years.
Probably. Even you notice it mostly in the pros, because 5 years ago on NFL Red Zone, probably like 7 years ago on NFL Red Zone, every other touchdown was being scored by a Miami Hurricane. There's Frank Gore, there's Andre Johnson, there's Reggie Wayne, there's Jeremy Shockey. And now who's a Miami Hurricane that's dominating in the pros? Jalen Phillips had a nice rookie year, but we don't have those guys.
But it was
shining.
Ray Lewis, and it was
Frank Gore was the last one.
But it's 20 years. You're talking about an entire generation that has missed out on relevant football in South Florida.
You don't even have kids coming up through high school in South Florida. Don't even have connection points right now of Miami Hurricanes being good in the pros. At least they could have that. While the football program was toiling away and failing in the ACC, at least you knew very recently they have some dogs out there in the NFL. They're still an NFL factory, and we got lapsed, and they got to rebuild.
I kind of agree with Whitty, and that's his point, right? Where Miami's going back to Jimmy Johnson still. Georgia's not going back to Vince Dooley. They're trotting out the team and the players they have right now and saying, hey, I was here for 3 years. Now I'm starring in the NFL.
Yeah, but UM traffics in that, and proudly, and it should. I mean, that's part of
Well, no, they traffic in that because that's all they have.
It's all they've got.
If they had new stars, they would not traffic in that.
I think they would.
Really?
I do. I think they would. I think Jimmy Johnson, I think Bernie Kosar and Jimmy Johnson and Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, I think all of those old ghosts are always going to be relevant to this program, and especially since a guy like Mario Cristobal comes here, and he's played in it. He's been a part of it.
Embraces it.
The best offensive Miami Hurricane in the NFL right now is KJ Osborne.
Let me do it another way with the Miami Dolphins coaching staff. As Stugotz, McDaniel brings in a new program that's supposed to be revolutionary offense with speed all over the place.
And we got him from Buffalo.
Does it make any sense at all to have in the locker room Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison as assistant coaches that are in charge of your secondary, that your secondary might be more familiar with Surtain's kid as a player than they are with Patrick Surtain? And I say this as someone who remembers that that's the best duo of cornerbacks that the Miami Dolphins have ever had, but also 20 years ago. And now they've added Wes Welker to the staff as well. What is the value of that to have players around who have done it, but perhaps you didn't see their careers?
Well, I think in the case of Madison and Surtain, they're actually good coaches, right? They have coaching experience. Right. They've done it at a high school level, maybe a college level for one of them, I think.
At college level, yes.
And so is Welker.
And the professional level.
I think there's value, as long as they're good coaches, to having, all-time greats as coaches and talking about their experience and, how they made it in the NFL. As long as they're good coaches, I think there's tremendous value to that, yes.
But in terms of, the significance of Patrick Surtain and Sam Madison walk in the room, I just don't think it resonates with guys who are...
They're just old guys.
Older than or younger than 27, probably.
Wait, but you're not giving some guys in that locker room enough credit. You're telling me all the cornerbacks, all the defensive backs for the Dolphins, none of them know who Sam Madison or Patrick Surtain is?
It was a long time ago.
I understand that, but they're not football fans. They didn't grow up. They didn't study their own position.
They're not of the age, Stugotz, to have... If you're 6 years old, do you remember anybody who was a cornerback when you were 6 years old?
Lester Hayes.
Okay.
One of the all-time greats.
You probably weren't
Sticky
6
hands.
at the time, but congratulations, Stugotz. It's like you named a cornerback from when you were 6 years old. Yeah. I don't know the answer to the question I'm asking. I don't. But Wes Welker, Sam Madison, and Patrick Surtain might not mean anything to a 20-year-old.
I think Welker they have a memory of. But Sam Madison, even though we forget the Giants years, he was last a Pro Bowler in 2002.
I'm sorry, Welker as a Dolphin is where my head was on that.
No, if you're
one.
18 years old, you don't remember Welker as a Dolphin, but you remember him as a Patriot and Bronco.
You might not remember this as an audience, Stugotz. I don't know. Billy just informed me of this. I did not know they were doing this. I'm very excited about learning that Billy and Chris are doing something on Friday. Do you know what Billy and Chris Cote are doing on Friday?
They told me over the weekend. I'm very excited for them. Yes.
They are broadcasting a Marlins game.
Oh, yeah.
Which I am surprised the Marlins, after this experience with allowing us to do play-by-play, I am surprised that the Marlins are deciding to revisit.
You were that bad.
This well.
So this is a pretty big at-bat, Stu.
Does that include the shot he took in the face when he was standing in the on base?
Stu, you got to stop talking when there's a hit.
Logan Morrison with a big base hit up the right side, and Martinez slides it at first and third, no out here in the bottom of the third inning.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
2 people sliding into first.
Well, once we get into the action, right, I sound pretty good.
Yeah.
No?
You had 2 people sliding into first base.
And
that happened.
That was good, though.
Yeah, thank you.
It reminded me of Vince Scully. I mean, that was fantastic.
I appreciate it.
Hot shit, hot foul, whatever he said.
Whittingham was, I think.
Oh, enough of him. I know where you were going. He was wincing. He's a play-by-play professional, a broadcast professional. I'm not. I was asked to do it by the Marlins. You weren't helping out. Samson was helping a little bit more. I mean, what do you want? Geffner was staring at me. What do you want from me, Whitty? I did the best I could.
Don't take shit from him. He's the penis guy. Okay, moving forward, that's the guy that said penis on the radio.
Whittingham was making a vomiting. It bothered him. I don't know. What mistakes did you notice that were most bothersome to you? Was it 2 men sliding into first base? Was it the right side?
It was the hearing of the crack of the bat and still going into your joke several seconds into the crack of the bat.
You try a little baseball, huh?
That's right.
Give it a go.
Not as easy as the guy kicks one ball to the other guy and nothing happens. And 0-0 score, one of the greatest games in the history of the sport.
Yeah, because baseball is such an enthralling, high-paced game with tons of scoring.
Too fast for DVH, you know what I mean?
Mike, do you have more sound from our foray into play-by-play the last time the Marlins allowed what they're about to allow on Friday, which I'm not sure why they're allowing?
Carpenter deals.
So good.
Some chin music to Gabby Sanchez.
Chin music normally isn't swung at.
David,
swung at that,
I got news for you. I was getting chin music in no matter what today.
This is radio, Stu.
I was getting
Please
my
pay
chin
attention.
music in.
How did this happen? How did you guys
I don't
repair?
think you've actually said it. We're going to be calling the Marlins game on Friday, me and Chris Cote, on the radio. 9:40 locally. Not the time, that's the
on the radio.
station.
You're doing play-by-play.
I don't know what we're doing. We're going to be in the booth doing something for the whole game. I don't think they trust us with play-by-play. I think we're going to be there, and Kyle Seeloff's going to be calling the game, and he's going to kind of be making sure that we keep the train on the tracks and we're on our best
I'm going to get
behavior.
chin music in, though. I'm going to
Really? You want me to call it?
Yeah.
How did this happen?
It's a
Jeter
good
left?
question. No, they've actually been trying to get us to do this for years. Like, this is like the 3rd or 4th year that they've wanted us to do it. And I mean, if we're going to be honest, what's stepped in the way was the fact that we used to air on 790. The ticket in these games were on 940. And then they'd go to ESPN and I'm like, 790, you can decide. And then 790 would always block us from doing it. So wasn't the Marlins or ESPN. It was local 790 that would stop us from doing it.
Now nothing's stopping us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, honestly. I feel like
really?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little out of our
it's
element.
A spring training game.
Right. And that's what
But there's a guy calling the game, so just be you. Like, just
I am.
You two dance around him, right?
But I have this like vision that like we're so great that they like offer us.
I
the
was
full-time
thinking that
position
too.
afterwards.
I was actually thinking that too. Like
we
this
just
is
like
more
we
of an
crush.
audition. Yeah.
We have like a great chemistry with Kyle, and all of a sudden they're like, we should go young, and then all of a sudden me and Billy.
The legend just retired, the Hall of Famer out of there, not doing it anymore.
We can't curse.
Glenn Geffner, I did tell Chris, like, you've been a lot of cursing on the radio lately because we kind of are doing our own thing. But remember, we're going to be on actual radio, can't curse.
You want to tell people where they could get it? Because if they want audience, we will deliver audience to them if you guys give some people some information about how they can hear you guys call on Friday a spring training
940
game.
wins. It'll be at 105 on
locally.
Friday.
Yeah. Those games usually stream on the MLB website
There
as well.
you go.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Also not helpful to say 940 wins.
Sure, people can look up.
AM 940.
940 AM on your dial, Dan.
The easier you make it for them to find you, I don't know that the audience is regularly checking in with spring training games. So if you want people,
Type 940 wins into Google. Boom. That pops right up.
With a Z.
With a Z.
Yeah.
Wins.
I'm trying to get Christopher to sprinkle in a few highlight terms.
Oh, really?
Like when there's a
I
big
thought
hit
he was
off
going Greg Cote show there.
when there's a big hit off the wall, he goes check check. that type of thing.
Chick Chack. Let me write that.
You
one
can see the
down.
help I'm getting from my
Chula!
father.
He won't do it, but I'll do it for you, Greg. Chick Chack. If that hits the wall, you say Chick
Yeah,
Chack.
chick check.
By the way, also a fun aside, I believe that this game is against the Astros, and our friend Lewis Brinson is on the Astros now, so it'll be a nice little reunion for us. Yeah, Brent Diesel.
Chris Cote, don't you owe like an anthem
Lou
at a
200.
baseball game?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Spring training.
Yeah.
Was it minor league?
What do you have to do?
I believe I do.
Is
owe-
it minor league? I mean, you're calling a Marlins game.
What do you have to do?
Well,
He's got to sing the national anthem for a game. That's an ode good of death punishment.
I think, or was it take me out to the ball
I think it's
game?
take me out even easier.
Yeah.
No, it
I'm
doesn't look
willing
like
to
you're
do it.
disrespecting
We gotta
the
make some
country.
calls.
I'm
Some
willing.
calls.
I'm willing.
Yeah. Two birds.
Yeah.
We're going to be documenting this on our phone because when I ask our video guys, hey, can you guys record this? They said, well, we have the Bad Bunny concert that day.
Oh.
From
Priorities.
That's rich coming from you.
Evil Cat
You told me
Billy.
yesterday, and
Evil
I
Cat
already am
Billy.
doing things. Jeez.
No, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Evil cat.
Why are you staring at Greg?
Chick Chack.
When Ron McGill misses a bunny, it's a bad bunny.
Chula.
It's good. Field goal.
All right.
He always wins.
If you had to guess the percentage of people in our audience, or just a number, give me an actual number of listeners that you believe in our audience know what Chick Chack and Chula mean.
Right.
As you decide to your suggestion to your son is that he should throw in highlight terms in the
Correct.
baseball broadcast. Do you know what a Chick Chack and a Chula are? Would you like to tell the audience what those things are?
I would love to.
As the father of an owner of a highlight team at Magic City Casino.
Yeah, the Cessna Cyclones. Everybody knows Chula. Don Chula. It's
what is
that's
a,
right.
What is
Exactly.
What
That's
is-
another thing he's been trying to get me to work in.
Jules.
What is a Chula?
okay. When the ball simultaneously,
She usually pencils in her eyebrows.
when the ball simultaneously hits the floor and the wall on the back line, it's very difficult to return. Chula's a good thing if you're the offensive player who's just hit the ball. Very difficult to return. Chula. Like that.
But what
Chick
does
Chack.
that have to do with us calling
If
a
the ball
baseball
hits
game?
the
Weave it
wall and
into
the
the
warning
broadcast.
track at the same time, you say Chula.
That
Then people
happens.
know what's exactly.
And that happens a fair amount.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
It does happen a lot.
It's more common in baseball than in highlight.
and it's an exciting play. It should happen more in baseball.
Leads to triples.
Chick Chack, I have no idea what that means, but I enjoy saying it.
Right. Sounds good.
Like knick-knack.
Off the wall, though, right?
Knick-knack,
You imagine
paddywhack.
like that?
Yeah, something like that. Chick Chack.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher, you're an owner. What is a Chick Chack?
Knick-knack, paddywhack.
Give the dog a bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. This old man came crying, roaring home, or whatever they got. My mom used to sing that to me
Just home. Yeah.
in the nursery.
I looked up Chick Chack, and a Chick Chack is a ball that hits the floor very near the back wall and then immediately hits the wall. Very difficult
That
to
is what
return.
he
I
ju-
think that's
no,
a
but
Chula.
That's
No,
what he
no,
just
no.
described
Chula is
as a
very
Chula. He
different.
doesn't
they're
know.
the same.
No,
No, I
they're
think I
similar.
remember. Chick Chack's an onomatopoeia.
That's right.
There you go.
That is correct.
Yeah.
It sounds like Chick Chack, which is why. What is the difference between a Chick Chack and a Chula? What is a Chula? Because
Chula
they
is
sounded
a-
like the same thing.
The ball hits the base of the back wall and returns without bouncing.
Like
it
I said.
rolls in, not at all what you said. It rolls instead.
the way I
What you
heard
said.
it.
You
Like
described
Aki,
a,
what I said.
Yeah.
I got you.
you described a Chick Chack as a Chula.
What I said.
You got to say it like that.
You
Let's-
do. You have to.
Jackie, what I said.
Let's update.
I haven't ever heard you use it in that form.
Use it to start a sentence
Yeah,
instead of just
that's exactly what I said.
It's a little twist.
I've never used it. It's usually just like one word, like yes.
No, but this was a sentence. Sagaki was the starting and
Sagaki
propelled
what I
into
said.
greater heights. Yes,
Sagaki what I
Sagaki
said.
what I meant.
pleased he is with
It
himself.
now replaced
Kinda stunned me for a second.
Oh, he's got a
entirely.
cough
Yes,
coming. Here it
yes,
comes.
Here it comes.
Hold up.
Look how
Hold up.
pleased
Oh
he
my!
is.
Is he
Hold
in
on,
pain
hold
or is
on.
he pleased?
You all right?
Very discerning of Mike to pick up on
Shrink, Dad. Then we won't see it.
that. I am. I'm shrinking. We're good.
You sure? Yeah. Drink some water. Good.
Just off mic, breathed out. Oh Lord.
He's hurting right now.
Look what we've normalized.
Greg, you want to join the booth? I don't know if we're allowed to have guests. Invited guests.
No, but I will be listening.
Oh,
tell you
thanks.
that.
You don't want to be a part of it?
He
He's
can
going
sit
to
it
Bad
out.
Bunny.
I wasn't invited.
Yep.
They just invited
They just
you.
invited you.
Oh, the Marlins invite you.
We've
They
taken
don't
it back.
invite you.
He's not invited.
No, I'm not going to do it. Seriously. Enjoy yourselves. Chick check.
Mm-hmm. Let your sun shine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Chris.
That's exactly right.
Did you ever go to the doctor with your dad?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
The wrong doctor
right
on the
one?
wrong
Yeah,
day.
yeah, but the right one.
No, actually, it was very effective. I spoke to his doctor, and we agreed he needs a new pulmonologist. So he's getting a
What?
new one of those.
Oh wow!
No, that
You're
sounds like
seeking a second
politics.
opinion.
Yeah.
bullpen on that.
Well, the heart doctor is who his GP and his heart doctor are the same person.
McGillicuddy?
And he told us that he needs a new pulmonologist and he needs a new GP. So we're working on all that.
Wait, the heart doctor told you that he needs a different doctor that does the same thing he does?
No, a pulmonologist is more like the midsection.
No, pulmonologist.
No,
is
it's a
lungs.
heart doctor.
That's a lung doctor.
But I'm telling, this
You
heart
said the
doc-
heart doctor said
Cardiologist is a
GP,
heart
and the
doctor.
I know,
cardiologist
okay.
said he needs a new GP.
I know you guys are going to try to do this thing. Chris is an idiot. The guy
You
said
got that
my
wrong.
dad's issue is like at the lower end of his, like in here, in his stomach is where my dad, because like his
Right in the
inhaler is doing work in the lungs, but it's not getting all the way down. And he said he needs a new pulmonologist.
That's correct. I also need a new PCP, a.k.a. GP, a.k.a. ENT.
You need PCP?
Lewis knows
Primary
the guy,
care
yeah.
physician.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make an ancient Glenn Ross reference here, but the exchange of his doctor McGillicuddy sounded like written dialogue. His Dr. McGillicuddy.
Billy's right in the belly. That's a Easter egg for fans.
So did we see a doctor or not? I'm confused.
The wrong doctor. The
The
wrong
wrong
doctor for the
doctor,
wrong
and they
parts
all
on the
agreed that
wrong
they should
day.
see
Yes,
a
and they all
different
agreed the
doctor.
problem is in his stomach, and he's been coughing for 4 years.
Needs PCP.
Let's update our tournament.
Chick check.
Oh, here you go.
That's exactly how it went.
Let's update our tournament. It's unbelievable. We are televising and broadcasting his descent. And ours. Let's update the tournament here, Stugotz. Duke is obviously still in the tournament. It's a monster Final Four. All of the traditional teams. I don't know.
Where to find it.
I don't root for anybody. That's right. It's either on
TBS.
840 or 850. It's one of those True TV. I'm searching through all sorts of sludge in order to find it. But the Final Four is now here, and that means this right here is Duke. Out of the West, a 2 seed. Coach K is represented by
Tim Kirchin looks like a high school chemistry teacher that casually exclaims, "Whoopsie daisy," after accidentally creating mustard gas.
That means Arkansas was knocked out here. Your beloved Musselman has been knocked out. That means this is no longer in the tournament.
Daniel Jones looks like an actor playing Eli Manning in a Peyton Manning biopic.
Houston obviously lost, Stugotz, so Houston is now gone. That means this is gone.
Andy Reid looks like the guy that angrily peers over his glasses at the Olive Garden waiter who stopped grating cheese onto his salad before being told to.
Colin Gillespie and the Villanova free throw shooting team has advanced. That means this has advanced.
Howie Long looks like a brand new number 2 pencil.
I have been remiss in not reminding you that this tournament, March Sadness, is presented by 5 Hour Energy Drink.
It's the one when you got to get stuff done. Pick up some today. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
Miami's gone. That means this is gone from the tournament.
Lovie Smith looks like he has saved no fewer than 4 children from being trapped in the bottom of wells.
Gone from the tournament, but Kansas, a sturdy number 1, and I believe our number 1 overall in the tournament.
Jimmy Johnson looks like a satirical French magazine's cartoon drawing of an American.
St. Peter's is gone, so this is gone.
Adam Silver looks like a wisp of smoke.
Too bad.
What a run.
Yeah.
And North Carolina is still in the tournament. 2 teams from the Tim Kurkjian Conference.
Tim Kurkjian looks like the Italian tailor from a spy thriller.
Villanova won their Elite Eight game 50-44,
Yeah.
and still went 15 of 15 from the free throw line.
We're guaranteed a Tim Kurkjian in the final. It's big news.
How great. The fact that we get Carolina and Duke, the best rivalry in that sport, one of the best in all of sports, right? You get it in the national semifinals. Like, how awesome is that? In Coach K's final year with UNC as an 8 seed. Crazy.
It's great.
Yeah. It's a great Final
North
Four.
Carolina lost by a 20-plus to Miami twice.
I can't believe they're here. First year head coach, too. I just want this Coach K thing to be over. It's enough.
Well, it's going to be over in 2 games. You don't want it to be over with him holding the trophy?
No, I wanted it to be over as soon as it got started. I'm over this.
You don't want 2 games.
It's completely taken over the broadcast. It's the Coach K tournament, and the actual March Madness comes second. It's all about Coach K. Yeah. It's enough already.
But it's always about the coaches, isn't it?
In that sport,
well,
yes.
It has to be because they're the one fixtures, right? And Coach K, for 40 years, has been a fixture over there. I get some attention, but most people tuning in to March Madness or tuning in to root on their teams. There's so many regions represented over there. This is probably, I know what their strategy is. It's the right one. I can also be tired by it.
It'd be a nice story, though, right? Beating Carolina, winning a national championship in your final year. That would be fun, no?
Yeah, it would be a nice story, and it's just totally overdone. I've been saying goodbye to Coach K for an entire quarter of a year. It's just enough already. I'm sick of it.
It's like the Elton John farewell tour.
Yeah.
Never ending.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think it's the best story in sports right now is Coach K on a ladder in a week, cutting down the net. I think it's fantastic. The Peacocks run was a nice diversion for a while. It hasn't all been Coach K.
$1 fine on your fantastic there. Pointed out by Whittingham. I didn't even.
But nothing for the cough.
I didn't even notice it. In deconstructing all of the distortions of the pandemic and everything that was sped up across the pandemic, one of the things that was sped up is the storyline of we've been watching that sport for many, many years. March Madness has always been gambling. And we used to know the players back when they'd play 3 or 4 years, but now the way to know them is, hey, oh, look, Duke got in the game. They got Zion and Barrett and Reddish, and Duke has gotten in the game because they're not going to be what they used to be. They're going to do one and dones, and Coach K at the very end is going to manipulate the system so that he can continue to be atop the system.
For this Final Four, I can name all 4 of the coaches. I don't think I can name 4 players.
Well, but this is how we've been watching this sport for a long time, where the players, I mean, God almighty, Stugotz, like the coach, it's not just Musselman, it's Sampson. You see that Houston team was a bunch of athletes throwing the ball at the shot clock, couldn't shoot free throws, right, but were overwhelmingly physically aggressive through the tournament and then run up against the free throw shooters and they lose. But this is a whole bunch of dudes in the minor leagues learning how to play basketball. So Houston goes 1 for 20 from 3. Nobody can shoot. And it's just a total distortion of let's get the freshman and the sophomore in there, and we're going to just Kelvin Sampson and coaches and coaches and coaches and coaches and coaches. And the king of them lost his final home game in a way that was embarrassing to North Carolina, his greatest rival, and now he gets them again. There's no disputing, Mike, whether you're sick of it or not. It's a storyline that is ratings great. It's Duke basketball. Love them, hate them, but you care. It's Coach K. Love them, hate them, but you care. They're better than you. They've always been better than you. They act like they're better than you. They beat all the teams because they're Duke. And now you got to eat at least one more game of it. And I don't know.
Oh, I'll be watching.
But I don't know what the audience is rooting for. I always assume the audience is rooting for hate Duke. I hope Duke loses. But goddamn, if he throws this in your face at the end as punctuation, like bleep off forever, haters. Like if he can win 2 more games at the end of this, when he bailed, when he had the bad back, and there's been some turbulence here. If the punctuation he gets is 2 more wins, and at the end, fists on my hips, I stand atop it again and bleep off.
Also coming back from 2 disappointing seasons, the lockdown and the pandemic kind of made Duke's failures in recent seasons, especially the previous season, which they missed the NCAA tournament entirely. It muted some of that. North Carolina too. North Carolina would have missed the NCAA tournament, I believe, that got canceled because of the lockdowns. To see these 2 programs here, one with the old standard and one totally rebuilt with a brand new head coach, as Roy Williams did what in my mind is the classier thing, which is not have all the fanfare of a farewell tournament. He just left and stepped aside for a coach that already has him in the Final Four. After within this own year, as you mentioned, that loss to Miami, they totally reshaped themselves over the course of the year. North Carolina is the scrappy underdog in this Final Four.
It's not just 2 wins. It'd be 2 wins against North Carolina and Kansas or Villanova. Like, think about that. That's a great way to go out.
But you're doing it with programs, and you say scrappy North Carolina team, but no. They're monster. Jay Wright. Hey, you're just waiting for Self to lose. You're just waiting around to embarrass and disgrace there's nothing you're rooting for more than Bill Self to not hold up that trophy.
Correct. He won't.
So that you can be right about that guy never wins anything that matters. But if he knocks off Jay Wright or Bill Self, or if he knocks up from these 4.
If Bill Self knocks off Jay Wright, who's won 2 national championships since 2016 and then beats Coach K, oh man, I'm screwed.
But this is where I ask the audience, because it's been this way for a long ass time, man. Whether it's Jerry Tarkanian or Bob Huggins, or all of these guys, Huggy Bear, we've been celebrating the coaches in this sport as if they're the ones that matter, as if they are the programs. And in the case of Coach K, they are. Like, there is before Self. There is before Jay Wright. What's before Coach K? Like, those 2 things are the same. Coach K, Duke, those names, those brands, whatever it is you feel about that, Coach K's brand might be better than Duke's, because Coach K doesn't give off as much "we're better than you" as Duke gives off "we're better than you." If he at the end finishes it and does it, because nobody gets that ending. Paterno, nobody gets that ending. You don't get to be the guy who's the program and you win 2 more games and you're the program, you're the king of college sports. And furthermore, how the bleep were they the kings of college basketball? How?
It'd be a perfect ending for him. I mean, but I think more people are rooting against Coach K.
I hope he loses to North Carolina.
Yeah, they're rooting for him.
So great for his career to end.
See, I don't get that. These are 4 giants. There's no classic underdog here. 4 giants.
They don't like Duke, Greg.
You force feed me enough, and I'm going to start rebelling against the feel-good story. And that happened even before the tournament began. I was like, enough.
Well, who has ever liked Duke, though?
Yeah,
Duke is the most hateable program
I know
in
they're
sport.
not
underdogs.
But there's no underdog to latch onto here. There's no peacocks left. So why not?
And Carolina's an 8 seed.
They're North Carolina. They're one.
That's what Villanova was when they won the national championship.
Why not root for history at this point? That's my question. Why not root for the best story? The best story is Coach K on the ladder.
It makes Duke's fan base happy, and I think that's enough for me.
It's just weird that I'm kind of with my dad that we chose Duke as there's a lot of, in every sport, there's teams that succeed a lot, and we're not always
Their players are annoying.
We're not.
No,
they're all annoying.
They know exactly what they do to other college basketball fans.
His hair's too black, also. It's just the whole
but I think this time you
is this Christian Laettner we're talking about?
Yes.
What year? This is. I feel like this
JJ
is.
Redick,
it's like John Shire. JJ Redick.
Danny Ferry. I mean.
But that's part of it. All the guys you mentioned there were the white guys beating the black guys.
25 years ago.
Beating the Running Rebels, beating the Fab Five.
It's just the faces in the
See, Witty asks, who likes Duke? But you guys are going so far on the other side. Why do you guys hate Duke so much?
But then
I don't hear any real good reasons other than that. They just because
the style of play.
No one likes
the style of play. They were up there. Why do you hate the Patriots? Why do you hate Bill Belichick?
Do you like Alabama?
Same reason.
I mean,
I don't root against Alabama like, I fucking hate them. I hope they lose.
In Nick Saban's final season, will you be rooting for Nick Saban to have the perfect ending?
Depends.
Maybe.
I think I would.
I don't think Coach K is dislikable in the way that Saban and Belichick are. That's me personally. I just don't. I admire Coach K and his.
It's not him. It's the players and the university and the fans.
He is Duke. Coach K is Duke.
He was the first one to complain about one and done, and then became the coach of USA basketball, and then all of a sudden gets all the one and dones. Like, oh, we're the one and done program now.
Good for him.
Because
hypocrite.
He had to.
Is it possible because he says? Greg says likable or degrees of likable on Belichick, Saban, Coach K. In a different time, John Wooden, as a principled teacher and molder of men, could be that. But are you even allowed in sports today, given just the cruelty in the comment section, to kick everyone's ass and be likable? Like, Tom Brady's kind of beaten that out of us. Whether you like him or not, you just sort of have to like, oh my God, okay, I respect you. I can explain what you're doing. But are you allowed to have the success Coach K and Saban and Belichick have and also be a person like, wow, I root for him. I hope he wins again because I love watching the same person win again and again and again. Michael Jordan did that before. Like, you guys do revisionist history on that. Like, he was dragged at plenty, but afterward, because it wasn't social media and because we weren't like arguing about every damn thing about LeBron's not number 1, he's number 4. But does anyone get to be likable? Like, legitimately, does anyone get to get the punctuation? You're like, you know what? I love that you got to retire like John Elway or even Peyton Manning. Like, you know what?
Well, did Elway get it?
I'm happy
did Peyton get it?
Elway got it. Yeah,
right.
Elway at the end
And
because
Peyton got it.
Elway, but a coach though, where you're rooting for him because Elway got it at the end because he had not won.
Right.
It's not just greatness. It's
Coach K has done plenty of winning. Right.
It's where you're actively rooting against someone because they've beaten it out of you, and you're like Mike Ryan. Oh, enough with all you being excellent all the time. I root for you to lose, but like Floyd Mayweather, I'm gonna always pay and be wrong, and I'm not gonna like you at the end, but you're going to have won because you always win.
Just be excellent while not diluting my experience when I'm just trying to support my team. I don't want to be reminded of your excellence. If I want to be reminded of your excellence, I'll watch your broadcast, but to have it just completely broad brush the entire tournament's coverage. Duke isn't even playing on a night, and you're in halftime of the doubleheader, and they're talking about
and
Coach
you do
K.
it too as a producer, correct? Or
no, they're driving numbers. They're doing the right
it's
move.
The storyline.
No, but I'm being force-fed this stuff, and I don't care. I'm there to watch my team. Why does it need to be a part of my team's broadcast? The play-by-play people are talking about the Duke next game during crucial. It's a 1-point game for Miami USC.
He's arguably the best coach ever.
But he's walking into the arena. It's a 1-point game.
But Mike,
why are you taking me away from my team's
last
drama?
game?
I don't need to see him walking in when it's a 1-point game of Miami USC. What does that have to do with me?
That part is awkward. He's limping in. It's awkward. I'm way too close. I don't want to see things that I'm seeing. I'm with you on that, Mike.
Nobody walks into an arena
they
like
want
Coach
people to
K.
watch. They want people to watch. They know that people are tuning in during all the games. And they a tight finish.
That's why they would show. Are you talking about what my dad said?
Yeah. No one walks into an arena. He's limping in.
No, but he's limping in, and you're saying no. I don't even understand.
There's a presence
I think he's
there.
right, but I don't know why.
There's a presence. He's regal.
Presence. Yeah.
He's regal when taking a crap, Coach K.
He looks like he's always ready to give someone a lecture, and I'm just not here for it anymore. Just go away. Start talking to
It's the nose, I'm telling you.
He looks like he's always taking a crap. The face.
He's regal when taking a crap is what not only so he doubled down.
Is.
It's not just
Riley is.
There is no one who is regal taking a crap.
No,
Riley.
No one.
Coach K.
No one in the history of taking a crap.
He has one of those smart toilets that does all the stuff underneath. You know what I mean? Like his hand is
the
not touching
Toto.
any TP.
When you say regal, it means it goes out easy, right?
Got special pants.
I will say this again.
A lot of fiber.
Doesn't even have to take his slacks off. That's how good he is.
I don't think he even poops, if we're going to be honest.
He has special pants. Poop pants is the contribution over here.
Pants.
And then Billy Gill with the punctuation, not unlike Coach K, where he declares, I don't think he even poops.
He does look constipated, doesn't he? That's what I'm saying. Like the face.
He does have that look a little bit. Yeah.
So can it be both? You're constipated but regal, because this is an amazing magician miracle man you're making. The regal constipated shitter.
Yep.
I can't believe that the mythology has climbed to the place where he's done so much witting that Coach K can be the mythological, regal, constipated shitter. But congratulations, Coach K. You have received the greatest honor this show can bestow, which is gibberish from every angle that doesn't mean anything. You win at the very end by being a shitter who doesn't shit but does so regally while constipated.